All right, everybody. Welcome to the Contextual Christian Church Bible Study, where today we're going to read Isaiah chapter 21, verses 1 to 17. I'm going to pray it in. Everybody, bow your heads. Father, thank you for getting us on this Bible study to continue in through more chapters of Isaiah. I pray that with the context we get today with this new chapter, we get into um, some maybe an old topic we may have talked about before as a remembrance, or maybe a topic that may have something to do with our listening, Bible lesson that we did. In Jesus' name, Amen.
Amen. Now, just a heads up, Charles, 17 is the full chapter.
Oh, all right.
So just figured I'll let you know that real quick. All right. Now, anyways, last time what we had gone through back on Saturday, we had read all the rest of chapter 19 and then all of chapter 20. Whereas we could see we were continuing with the supposed burden that Egypt was going to have to deal with, and comparing that to the rest of wait, where was it? About how Judah was going to be a terror in it, about they were going to have to deal with all these things from God, and how it's going to that afterwards they're going to return to being faithful to God, which is crazy to talk about because it showed three different groups in that section that were either being used by God to do God's work or were considered to be part of God's people, even if not God's chosen people. See, as it described them, and let me make sure I get the right verse on that. Yeah, verse 25, when we finished up chapter 19, whom the Lord of hosts shall bless, saying, Blessed be Egypt, my people, and Assyria, the work of my hands, and Israel, mine inheritance. So, oh, that just hit me. I can't believe I just realized that. I got to say one thing before I continue. Charles, what's an inheritance?
What you're giving, somebody died, and you're giving something when they die.
And how does the inheritance transfer? How do they know who to give it to normally?
Normally, we read it through what the firstborn son, or like a will, but normally we read
Yeah,
it as a firstborn son.
yeah. Inheritance are passed down through the family. Israel is God's inheritance. Israel is God's family. Jesus was born in the tribe of Israel. I don't know why that just clicked for me just now, but that just hit me like a ton of bricks. Them being his inheritance was literally saying they are his lineage. That is crazy. That just hit me. Sorry. I can't believe that just hit me. I don't know if you guys realize that or not, but that just
I'm,
hit me just now.
I'm surprised you didn't
But
catch it on this Saturday. None of us did actually, but
yeah, yeah, it just, man. So Egypt was part of God's people. However, Israel is God's lineage, his family, his relatives. That's crazy. I can't believe that just hit me out of nowhere. But anyways, back to it. Um, Egypt had to, as a impact of verses, this means that at some point Egypt was faithful to God. So the Bible clearly says that Egypt was faithful to God at one point and will be faithful to God again. And then we got into chapter 20, which was a very short chapter, only 6 verses. And as we got into 20, we saw that it was bringing up Tartan and the king of Assyria. That was the one who sent him down there. And what we really got into was another prophetic speaking from Isaiah. However, what we read from this and what it looked like was about how they were going to be led away. How the Ethiopians, the captives, going to go naked and barefoot, all this stuff that's going to happen to them. And so we could see from that in verse 20, it was somewhat connected, even though it was separate, it was somewhat connected to what we were talking about in chapter 19. So now we'll get started in chapter 20 and 19 were connected. So now today we'll get started in chapter 21 as we'll read the first section. Let me go and switch it over so our first reader can read. Man, that hit me like a ton of bricks. I can't believe I never realized that. Inheritance goes through the family, unless the family designates otherwise. All right, go ahead, Charles, when you're ready.
All right. I'm gonna do my best to read and explain with this little thing I got going on. But Isaiah chapter 21, verses 1 to 5. Give it a couple seconds. Verse 1. The burden of the desert of the sea, as whirlwinds in the south pass through, so it cometh from the desert, from a terrible land. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously, and the spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam, besiege, O Midian. All the sign thereof have I made to cease. Therefore my loins filled with pain. Pangs have taken hold upon me, as the pangs of a woman that travaileth. I was bowed down at the hearing of it. I was dismayed at the seeing of it. My heart panted. Fearfulness affrighted me. The night of my pleasure hath he turned into fear unto me. Prepare the table. Watch in the watchtower. Eat, drink. Arise, ye princes, and anoint the shield.
Before you get started, Charles, good job on the switch up.
Thank you. Thank you. So, first thing, this sounds like I can do this in one section.
Yep.
The second thing is this is totally separate from what we got into in the last chapter.
Good.
So I was almost thrown off, but this sounds when the grievous vision. Isaiah's getting this vision, and this vision is just it's bringing him down. It's making him feel way worse than I feel right now. He's terrified. You're not only terrified, you're in pain. You're sick to your stomach. You're like, oh, whoa, this vision I'm getting, and this vision he's getting is Midia. Isn't Midia? This is the same Midia that was supposed to come after Babylon.
Yep.
We talked about this back in Daniel and Ezekiel.
Median and Persian Empire.
Median and Persian Empire. So basically, my whole section is him talking about that Median Empire coming in, and he's bringing up like examples of how it brought him down. How this vision has to be terrifying to bring him down, to make him feel like he brought up the pain in his loins, like the pain of a woman that travaileth. I don't want to feel that pain. I don't want to see something and then I feel that same way, like the stomach pains of a woman. When he says a woman that travaileth, and he brought up the pain in his loins, I'm taking that as a woman that's like, with child and you about to give birth and all of that. I'm taking that
Yeah,
as the
yeah,
same.
okay.
Okay,
I was
I'm
about to
taking
say,
that
like,
as
you
the
better
same.
explain that. I was about to correct you on the good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the
Yeah, when
same
it says a
pain,
woman that travaileth, it's a woman when she's pregnant and the pains of labor.
the pains of labor. I almost didn't think, but he gave me verse 3 gave me the example, the pain in my loins. The same with a woman in labor. To see a vision and to have the same pain that a woman's having in labor, I don't want to have that vision.
Well,
at
not
all
have, but to be able to compare it to it.
to
To be
compare
because
to it.
because think about what the comparison is meaning. He's not literally saying that he felt the physical pain. He's saying that it was so bad that it made him drop the same way that the pains of labor are so bad a woman needs help to walk. She can't stand on her own no more.
Which is terrifying in itself.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh well, and I brought up, and I was bringing it up, but he also went into it in verse 4 and 5, how the his heart panicked, the fearfulness, all this fear coming to him from this vision. But I have to bring up verse 5 when he starts off with, "Prepare the table, prepare the table, watch in the watchtower, eat, drink, arise ye princes, and anoint the shield." The end of 5 sounds like I'm gonna not I'm but the next section is gonna go into what's going on with this watchtower, what's going on with this watch, what's going on with the princes. It sounds like there's gonna be more to that. Even though it ended with a period,
Uh,
it just
yes,
sounds like
but
there was
that's
gonna be
not. But you're
more
not
to it.
explaining what it's saying. There is something it's pointing out.
So it's pointing when he's pointing that out after this, talking about this vision. Let me reread it again. Prepare the table, watch in the watchtower, eat, drink, arise, ye princes, and anoint the shield. Oh, well, okay, no, no, not, no, no, no. Let me make sure I get myself together with this. So, like, when you're saying you're telling somebody to have somebody at that watchtower prepared, to have them make sure that they're doing their watch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
what are you
that's
telling them to do?
be prepared, especially because he's getting this
Exactly.
vision of a be prepared because especially with this vision of a we talked about this vision being media being a nation coming to just mollywop Babylon.
Exactly.
Be prepared for what's to come.
So if you were to put it all together in one sentence, what would you say is happening?
With all minds,
Mm-hmm.
come back to me. Let me think about it.
All right, Thomas.
My bad, y'all. I was completely distracted. I had to tell somebody off because they were being disrespectful.
All right. So the 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 way well actually no Charles, you said come back to you. Do you have anything?
This
Let
was
me give
just
it a
one
shot.
section, right?
Yeah,
Dude,
just in this
I missed
section.
so much information. I do apologize. I feel like
You
I'm
said
lost right
what?
now. I missed so much information. I do apologize. I feel like I'm lost right
All right, let's get back into it. Long story short, actually, Charles, let me give you a chance, and then I'll do the explanation. Did you at least hear the reading though, Thomas?
now. Yes.
Okay,
So,
so I
oh,
correct.
you,
Well, I'm about to explain a little bit, and then I'll have you try.
my bad.
I said it wrong the first time because I thought about it. It'd be better to do it this way. So Charles got everything right about the first few verses. The only thing he forgot to bring up was in verse 5, where it says, "Prepare the table, watch in the watchtower, eat, drink, arise, ye princes." He said in response to his explanation that we might hear. Okay, and let me say this, Charles, that response made no sense. It's not a possibility that we might hear. Where in there did it say we were going to continue? That could be the end of it.
It could be the end of it. It just felt like there was more to it than that. It could have ended with that.
Well, my point is to say is not only did you not explain it the first time, you explained it right the second time after I corrected, but you didn't explain it at all the first time, but you added that there might be more when there's nothing to point to that. Because you said there might be more about the watchtower and everything, right?
What I was saying was, it feels like there's more that's going to be added to it, like in the next section. But you're right. It could have stopped there. It just felt
And
like
so
it.
not only could it have stopped there, but you didn't explain it at all. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like, at least explain it. All right. So, anyways, back to it. Then, when I corrected him on that, he came with the correct answer on the second time. That in 5, when it says prepare the table, watch in the watchtower, it's be ready. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure you're ready. And that's where we were. And so I'm about to have Charles do an attempt to summarize everything in one sentence since it is all one thing. It's not a separate context. All right, you all caught up, Thomas? Don't forget to unmute.
Yep, go ahead.
There we go. Go ahead, Charles. Your attempt at summarizing.
To my attempt. All right. So Isaiah's getting this
Failure. No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
threw me off with that.
Sorry.
You want to mess with me while I'm sick. It's not helping.
Sorry.
Isaiah's getting this vision, and in this vision is terrifying vision. This is this is not the most, but this is the extremely terrifying vision that he's getting. And this vision is of Midian. And we already talked about how Midian was going to come through with, after Babylon and with the wars and all that, talking about that this vision is so terrifying. He seeing this vision made him drop as a comparison to like a woman dropping when she's in labor.
Charles,
And
you have
he's
not simplified it at all. You have just reread it, gone verse by verse. Thomas, let me give you the chance.
Okay, so I would have to do a little bit of reading to give you that. Might take too
That's
much
always
time,
fine.
All right. Give me reading right now, Bree. Okay, so Isaiah has a terrifying vision that causes him pain as in comparison to a woman. And hold on one second.
Mm-hmm. You remember what the question was?
To summarize,
Everything into one sentence.
then I will leave it at that.
Nope. Because you didn't actually summarize just by saying he had a vision, did you?
I think I got it. I think I got it, Matt.
Okay. All right, Charles.
I'm telling you to prepare because of this terrifying vision that I received.
Yes and no. Did a good job of summarizing, but you said I'm telling you. You're not talking to them right now, are you?
No. So Isaiah, sorry.
Exactly. Good. Now that's a good summarize. Isaiah is telling them to prepare because he's seen a vision that's so bad. That's enough. He's telling them to prepare because he's seen a horrible vision. Everything is summarized. Now, if you wanted to make it more specific, you could add the detail of the woman's birth, like woman in labor. And you could still make it one sentence. Isaiah is telling them of the desert sea to prepare because he saw a vision that was so bad it made him drop like a woman in labor about to give birth. You see the difference between that and what you did the first time, Charles?
Say it again one more time.
Isaiah is telling the people of the desert of the sea to prepare because he saw a vision that was so bad that he fell or dropped. I said dropped. That he dropped like a woman in labor about to give birth.
Now, when I did mine just before you did that one, I understand you that was like a summary where you if you wanted to get into details, right?
Yeah, but you didn't
Yeah,
even
then
do
I
that. You were pausing after each one. You were like, a grievous, like, she had
oh
this
then
horrible
then yeah
vision.
when you gave me the opportunity to yeah I see what
Yeah,
yeah yeah
you were going
I
verse by
verse by
verse. You weren't
verse
even
verse by
summarizing.
verse right verse by verse. Yeah, I remember getting that wrong verse by verse versus what I did with the just the just
Because
the without
notice
the
I didn't
details.
bring up about the spoiling. I didn't bring up about media. I didn't even
Right.
bring up about the heart panting or none of that. Like you started going into media. Now, there's a problem with media as well. I'm bringing it up. Are you sure that he's talking about media taking over just because he brought up media? Charles?
In verse 2 it brought up besiege O Media. So I thought
But are you
besieging
sure
was
that's
like
about media taking over after Babylon? Remember, the time of Babylon hasn't even happened yet. And
right.
we're not, and are we talking about the land of Israel?
No, we're not.
Exactly. Exactly. We're talking about the desert of the sea. So,
Right.
what if it's talking about an area that they're taking over prior to that? Are they only allowed to take over areas when it's the prophesied time where Israel's going to be taken under their control?
They could
Think
have.
about
Yeah,
that
you
for a
can bring
minute.
it up that you can bring it up that way, but I thought earlier when I brought it up, I was just bringing it up as they're the ones after Babylon, not
No, but my point is you brought it up in your so-called summary. That's not summarizing at all. You brought up a possibility that's not even confirmed.
got it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So you weren't summarizing, you were going verse by verse and explaining. Yeah, there's the possibility we're talking about when media takes over, but do we have confirmation of that at this time?
No.
And then think about it this way. In order for media to be strong enough to take over Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon, I mean, not Nebuchadnezzar, it was a different king at the time, sorry. For them to take over Babylon, wouldn't they need to take over a bunch of places and have people in power to do so?
Right.
So you weren't summarizing, you were going verse by verse.
You know, I understood that.
Oh, well, you brought up earlier, you brought up media. No, I was like, well, it's not about media. It's about like you going into media showed you were not summarizing, you were going verse by verse. The fact that you brought them up at all, because they're not even necessary in order to summarize. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That was just pointing out what I was saying about your mistake and how it showed me that. All right.
I got you.
Now then, now that we finished with that, the visions come. He's telling them to prepare because he's worried about how bad the vision is. Let's go to the second section. But actually, does anybody have any comments, questions about the first section as we're about to go in the second section? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right. Then go ahead, Thomas, when you're ready with the second section.
All right, I'll be reading Isaiah chapter 21, verse 6 through 10. One second, guys. Okay, 6. For thus hath the Lord said unto me, Go, set a watchman, and let him declare what he seeth. And he saw a chariot with a couple, and he saw a chariot with a couple of horsemen, a chariot of asses, and a chariot of camels. And he hearkened diligently with much heed. And he cried, A lion, my lord, I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights. And behold, he cometh a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, and all the graven images of her gods has broken unto the ground. O my threshing, and the corn of my floor, that which I have heard of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared unto you. All right. Give me 1 second, guys. So this is one section. I perceive. Let me know
Give
if
me
I'm
a
wrong.
second just to double check that real quick. Nope. Right off the bat, no. Charles,
Okay.
how many sections?
I was actually still thinking about it. I know two off for sure, but I don't know if it's more than two.
Okay, so 6 would be on its own.
Not on its own. You forgot something you're supposed to do at the very beginning.
I thought that came second, if it was a
It
continuation of
does
the
come
previous.
second, but in your mind, you should be thinking about it, right? Because it's the
Right, I
second thing
already
to come
thought
up.
about it. Yeah, no,
So,
I already got
so
that
with that
answer.
in mind, how could you say two? I mean, how could you say one? Does 6 go along with 7?
It does.
You sure about that?
But the reason why I was saying 6 may be by its own is because you got the Lord saying something, and then 7 is what the chariot. Hold on,
Who's me?
and Lord said unto me, Isaiah.
Exactly.
Go set
And
a
then verse
watchman.
7.
And he saw a chariot with a couple of horsemen, a chariot of asses, a chariot of
Who's
camels,
he?
the watchman.
So in 6, and this is where the good part for the hints comes up. In verse 6, Isaiah is told by God to set up a watchman. In 7, the watchman is already set up. And he's seeing a chariot of a couple of horsemen come through. Is that the same context?
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. How is it the
Oh,
same?
because the chariot is already set up, so it already had taken place.
Not the chariot, the watchman is already set up.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
In
So
6, Isaiah is being told to set up watchmen. So we're still talking about preparation. When we get into 7, preparation's done. They already have a watchman. We're talking about a
okay,
whole different time frame here. Whether it's a time frame in the vision or it's a time frame in life, we're talking about a different time frame.
so 6 continues with the previous verses, and then we jump into a different time frame. So 7 on would
Exactly.
be
That's why I said, even though the first part you're supposed to do is declare how many sections there are, you should already have the answer before you finish doing that. Because if 6 is part of 1 through 5, if 6 is part of 1 through 5, and we're at, well, actually, through 2 through 5, my bad, but same thing, it's all one thing. 1 through 5, if 6 is part of that, and 7 is a whole different time frame, how could you say it's one section?
right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we already have one. Then
And
look
then
into 7 and 8.
7 and 8, it's in response to what the Watchmen see.
Exactly. But it's all connected. Look at the punctuation after 7.
Yep. And it goes into continuation there. But he's
So
just
7
explaining
and 8 are connected. And then what's the end of 8? Punctuation.
continuation.
Continuation. And then we got
So
to the end
9.
of 9. So then how does 9 go? How does it start? How does it end? And
Let me read it one
behold,
more time.
here cometh a chariot of men. Okay, so we see the enemies coming. And what does it go through? Something that stands out real quick towards the end. Babylon is fallen. So
Okay.
we know that 7, 8, and 9 are connected. But then let's look at 10. Oh, my
Oh my God.
threshing and the corn of my floor, that which I have heard of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared unto you. So 10, does that sound like that's part of 9?
No, it's 3 sections.
Exactly. Should be 3 sections. We got 6, which is tied to 1 through 5. It's all about Isaiah trying to prepare them because of how fearful this vision was. Then what's going on in 7 through 9?
We got the watching and explaining what he's seen.
Exactly. And then what happens in 10?
Let me read that one more time. Oh, my threshing and the corn of my flour of my floor. Sorry. Sorry. That flour. That which I have heard of the Lord. Oh,
It's not a tortilla.
that's what I was thinking of. I had to pause real quick. Restart. Oh, my threshing and the corn of my floor. That which I have heard of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared unto you. That's an interesting one. I don't know exactly straight off the jump what it's implying. We have to like break it down.
Well, what did it say?
Oh, my threshing. I think of threshing floor.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't even matter like that. Oh, my threshing. What do you think somebody sounds like when they say that?
Like worried.
Yeah, you're expressing worry. Good. Oh, my threshing in the corn of my floor. That which
So
I have declared, that which I have heard of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared unto you. So, what is he saying?
he says, that which I have heard of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared. So the things that he's heard, he's declaring. But
Not declaring,
he's declared, sorry.
declared. That matters. What's the difference between declaring and declared?
Declaring is taking place in the present, declared is in the past.
Exactly. So I told you what God told me. I told you what God showed me. That's it. So we have 6, which is connected to 1 through 5. We have 7 through 9, which is what the watchman sees, and we have 10, which is just Isaiah explaining, "I've told you all that I was shown."
Okay.
You see that now, like how we can do that now. When you go to read it, you can be more focused on those details. But do you see how I was able to catch that?
Yes.
That which I have heard, and notice when I read that again, I didn't say the Lord of hosts. I didn't say the God of Israel. Did you notice that? I just said that which I have heard, have I declared to you. Because who I heard it from doesn't matter as much as if I'm trying to get context, unless we're getting to a point where I'm about to explain what they said. or what have you. Because if I'm telling you that which I heard, I told you, does it matter who the person is? Or am I saying the same thing no matter who the person is?
Right.
Would the context change if I said, that which I heard of Thomas and Charles, I declared unto you?
Nope.
See what I'm saying? So those are key things to look for. Don't get tripped up too much by the names of who. If we're about to go into what they said, cool. But wherever it says that which I have heard, have I declared unto you, or something similar to that, all they're saying is the fact that they told you what they had heard. Doesn't matter who it is, they're still just saying the same thing. So now let's go into the verses and get the explanations.
So by 6 being a continuation of 5, it's pretty much them preparing, and by preparing, they're setting and watching. And
Nope.
then that's how the Lord tells Isaiah to set the watchman.
Nope.
For thus hath the Lord said unto me, Go, set a watchman, let him declare what he seeth.
Mm-hmm. Let me give Charles a chance.
Starting with the detail, verse 6. So God is just telling Isaiah, go set up that
Nope.
watchman. For thus the Lord said unto me.
It said current tense or past tense?
Oh, because I said it in the present tense, not a past tense.
Mm-hmm. Both of you
God already told me to set up a watchman. Can I say it like that in the past tense?
Nope, because you just said me.
God already set Isaiah up. Told Isaiah.
Exactly.
God already told Isaiah. I keep doing that, because
But
I'm
you can't
putting
even say
myself
that
in.
because you still haven't taken the context of the situation into account. Is God telling Isaiah this now? Is that
No,
what's happening?
I meant to say that isn't like a past tense thing.
Well, you didn't do it yet.
Oh, I thought already would be good. What's another word for past
Mm-hmm.
tense?
Who's speaking in 6?
Isaiah speaking.
Good.
What I could use told. Yeah, no, I could do told. Told is past tense.
The Lord.
Hold is fine.
Yeah, I can use told.
And let me give Thomas another chance.
Go ahead.
Thomas,
Hold on. I got it, but let me just get the words.
you don't got it if you got to get the words, Thomas.
I got it, bro. Give me a second.
5, 4, 3.
The Lord
Dude.
told Isaiah to set up a watchman.
Nope. Is the Lord speaking right
I got
now?
it. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah was told by the Lord to set up a watchman.
Nope. Closer.
Jeez.
Not quite right. Charles, last chance.
Go ahead. I thought Thomas had with that last one.
Isaiah is explaining while trying to prepare them that God had already told him to prepare them by setting up a watchman. What's happening in 6 is not God speaking to Isaiah or just Isaiah telling them what God said. He is explaining that God told him to say this, but by doing that, he's explaining why what's happening is happening. Does that make sense?
So not God. I'm sorry. Isaiah is just explaining the whole of everything. He's breaking it all down. This is why this. This is why that. You mean in that sense?
Exactly.
Got it. Because we're not, when we bring it up in our answer, we're not saying that Isaiah is explaining the whole situation. We're
Yeah,
just telling the
you guys are
detail.
not
We're telling the
explaining the fact that he's explaining something. I'll give you an example. If I were to tell you Zach went to the store and was told by the cashier to go home and never come back to the store. If I just say it like that, Zach was told when he went to the store by the register to go home and never come back to the store. What does it sound like happened? Sound like he actually did those things. I'm just telling you the sequence of events. Now I'm going to add a detail. I was told by Audrey that Zach went to the store and got told by the register to never come back to the store. Did the context of what I said change between the two statements, Thomas and Charles?
Context,
All you
no.
did was just add some details, but he
Yeah.
still went to the store.
No, the context changed. Because now we're not talking about the store or him going at all. Now we're talking about the fact that I was told that it happened.
And that he was to never return.
Doesn't matter.
Mm.
Doesn't
Give
matter.
another
Because
example.
by me bringing up the fact that I was told that this happened, it means there's more information about why I'm being told that has now been added. Who told me? Why was I told? What reason do they have for telling me? All these questions now become relevant, important questions towards the story. Whereas prior, when I'm just saying that Zach went to the store and the cashier told him to go home and never come back, all that matters is that part. But by adding a third party telling it to me, there's also another part of it that's added too. How do you know if what that person told me was the truth?
Because it came from a third person.
Because it came from a third person. By adding the part about me being told, I'm now added a whole completely separate situational necessity of awareness. You need to know the whole situation in order to truly understand. Because let's take, for example, that same example, but I came back 2 days later and you asked me what happened to Zach. And I said, what do you mean? And you go, well, you told me that Zach went to the store. I said, no, I didn't. I told you I was told that. I don't know if it happened. I just thought it was a crazy story. See, the whole subject matter by me bringing up that I was told something has switched both responsibility of knowledge and of who you could go to find out more information. Everything has switched up by adding that detail. Do you see what I'm saying, Charles and Thomas?
Now I get it.
So let me
It
ask
went
you
from,
this.
yeah, go ahead.
A better way to word it would be Isaiah is explaining why he was told to set up a watchman.
You were all good till you said why.
Isaiah is explaining. So say it how you would say it.
I would say it as Isaiah is explaining why he's telling them to be prepared.
But you use why.
Yeah, but I said the why was the problem, not the fact that it existed. You
Right,
said
tell it. Go ahead.
exactly. You said Isaiah explained why he was told to set up a watchman. Nowhere in there did it say he was told why to set up a watchman. He was just told to do it.
So say that one more time for my notes.
Okay. What you brought up was you said Isaiah
Isaiah is
was
explaining why.
told why to set up a watchman.
Yeah.
Isaiah was never told why to set up a watchman. He was just told to do so. So by saying that for verse 6, you've added something that's not there. Whereas if you say Isaiah is explaining why he told them. Well, them wouldn't be Isaiah, right?
True.
Them would be the people of the desert of the sea. So Isaiah is explaining why he told them to prepare by setting up a watchman. Because that's what's happening in 6. If we really want to simplify it, I can simplify it as this. Isaiah is explaining the reason he told them to set up a watchman. Or actually, better yet, to make sure it's simple, Isaiah is explaining the reason why Isaiah told them to set up a watchman. And you could put in parentheses as the reason is God told him to.
All right.
A good example of this would be if you're driving your mom's car to the car wash and you get it washed and everything's good. You come home, your dad sees you in the car, gets pissed off, and he says, "Why are you driving your mother's car? Since when can you drive your mother's car?" And you tell him, "Dad, mom told me to go wash the car."
How you were explaining regarding to the other person in the other example.
Exactly. It's bringing in the third party, which would be God, in order to explain why he, meaning Isaiah, is telling them to set this up.
Okay.
Does that make sense, guys?
Yep.
You had to give us the examples to figure out because I thought at first we had it, but yeah, those examples had this.
Yeah, because you guys weren't bringing in the third party. You kept on
Yeah.
sticking it to the two in the way you were phrasing it. All right. Thomas, go ahead with 7, 8, and 9. Hey,
So
Thomas, before you do, why is 6 afraid of 7?
the 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So see, man, you gotta start doing it. You gotta start doing I totally blanked for like solid 5 seconds. Crazy. All right. So 7 through 9 is pretty much the Watchman coming back and telling uh them what he saw. But in 9, let me see this real quick. And behold, here cometh a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, and the graven images of her gods he hath broken unto the ground. He goes into explain that Babylon is fallen and all the graven images are done for. Through 7, 8, and 9.
You're missing something. And I'll give you a hint. It's an impact because of what your verses said.
Okay. Um, what in regards to being prepared?
Nope. Let me give Charles a chance. He's more likely to catch this one because of what his said. Charles, do you know what he forgot to bring up?
Go ahead.
Oh, you should have been able to get that, bro. All right. So in your section, there was something that we said was not confirmed. What was not confirmed in Charles's section, Thomas?
I'm not sure.
Babylon.
Yep. Yep. Charles, what does it say? I mean, what does it say in that verse?
Um, and he answered and said, Babylon is fallen.
No,
Babylon
not
is
that one.
fallen.
I meant the one that was in your section. I'm gonna put it back on the screen.
Oh,
Ruined my point proving. You were too excited.
you talking about when I brought up the media thing? Verse 2?
Yeah,
Besiege, O Media? Or, yeah. Besiege, O
exactly.
Media. Yeah.
In verse 2, Thomas, read that out loud.
A grievous vision is declared unto
Grievous,
me.
not grievous.
A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously, and the spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam, besiege, O Media. All the sign thereof have I made to seize.
There you go. Go up, O Elam. Besiege, O Media. All the signing thereof have I made to cease. All the signing. And we said that even though it brings it up, we don't know if that's talking about after the fall of Babylon. Remember, we read about the 4 empires that would come up, right? And the first one was Babylon Empire. Then we had the Median and Persian Empire. Well, what did we read in your section about Babylon, Thomas?
Babylon has fallen, and all their gods have been destroyed.
Exactly. That gave us confirmation that when it spoke on Media, it is talking about the Median Empire coming through and taking over. That confirmed something that was suspected, but we couldn't say for sure because we didn't have the confirmation yet. Now we have the confirmation. Does that make sense, Thomas and Charles?
Yep.
yeah, that makes sense.
All right. And you guys get why we couldn't say it before, but we can say it now, right?
Yeah, I went way too because mine was like a if and like I'm thinking about it and we didn't have enough context in my section for me to throw that out there as like a guaranteed or a strong
Good.
possibility. We have a
And why can we say
confirmation. We have a confirmation in Thomas's section because of verse 9, but I know I went too far with mine. We didn't have enough on mine.
good? All right. So then in verse 10, we have where it points out that Isaiah is just repeating the fact. Now, I would take something back. Oh, my threshing floor and the corn of my floor. I don't think that's an expression of fear. Because when we look at it, that which I have heard of the Lord and the God of Israel have I declared unto you. It could go that way, but it could also be a term of endearment, not endearment. It's not a word. Actually, it might be a word. I don't know. Endearment. I'm gonna have to look that up later. Anyways, back focused. It could be freaking out fear, but it also could be a term of endearment. I almost did it again. Like, oh, my threshing floor and the corn of my floor. Well, what's the threshing floor, Charles? Do you remember?
No.
Threshing floor is where they would throw the hay, where they would clear up. You got your products. And then we talk about the corn of my floor. Again, that's your fruit, your stuff you're bearing, your stuff you could sell. So this could be giving an explanation, not so much on fear as much as like, look, I got a lot of love for you. I care about you. You're my people. You're my product. Comparing the people to product. But I've told you all that I was told. So good. So just bringing that back into remembrance. Now we're going to go into verse 11. But before I do, as always, do you guys have any comments or questions about the second section as we go to the final one for today? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right, then Thomas, thanks for that one. And Charles, go ahead and finish us out with chapter
All right.
21.
All right. I'm going to finish out Isaiah chapter 21.
Yeah, you do that. I don't know why you said it like that. Say, all right, I'm gonna
I'm
finish
sick, man.
this one.
I'm sick, man. I'm trying.
I'm gonna buy your book.
This is how I sound when I say. Verse 11. The burden of Dumas. He calleth to me out of Seir, or of Seir. Watchman, what of the night? Watchman, what of the night? The watchman said, the morning cometh, and also the night. If ye will inquire, inquire ye. Return, come. The burden upon Arabia. In the forest in Arabia shall ye lodge, O ye traveling companies of Dedanim. Dedanim. There we go. The inhabitants of the
Dedani.
land, Dedanim, sorry. The inhabitants of the land of Tema brought water to him that was thirsty. They prevented with their bread him that fled. For they fled from the swords, from the drawn sword, and from the bent bow, and from the grievousness of war. For thus hath the Lord said unto me, within a year, according to the years of an hireling, and all the glory of Kedar shall fall, and the residue of the number of archers, the mighty men of the children of Kedar, shall be diminished. For the Lord of God of Israel hath spoken it. All right. So I have three sections. Are they the same? Three sections.
All right.
Oh, sorry. When you did all right, I
Nope.
thought you were okay. Yeah, you were.
I was double checking it,
Yeah, you were double checking it.
and I would say no. Close, but no. Thomas.
Go.
How many? Wait, Charles. How many sections did you say?
I said three.
Yeah, no.
So be agree too, but that company's not right.
I can't hear a word you just said.
Honestly, I'm not sure.
All right, Charles, you were
think
close.
I think I figured out where I got my where I made my mistake.
We're at.
I included so 11 and 12. Those were I had them as one. The
That's true.
original second section that I thought was 13, 14, and 15, when it should just be 13 as a separate. So that should be number two.
Good.
14 and 15 should be the third one.
Good. Perfect. Now, the reasons why. 11 and 12 are both talking about it's a conversation with the watchman. That's all one thing. 13 is the burden of Arabia by itself. 14 goes into the ones that are fleeing from war, along with 15 as well. And then 16 and 17 is giving a timeline of when some of this stuff will take place. So we got 4 different things, different contexts that are taking place. Does that make sense, Thomas and Charles?
Yeah, it makes sense now.
Yep.
Thomas, that does not sound like you actually understood it. You sure?
Sorry, I'm taking notes at the same time.
All right. I know you was distracted earlier with something happened. Want to make sure you wasn't distracted now.
Well, I would definitely let you know.
I don't know. Y'all be saying yes, and when I go deeper, y'all be getting it wrong.
You can go over it again if you like.
Yep. No, I think I did it enough on this one, actually. Yeah, you know
You
what?
know,
Tell me why the 4 sections. Explain why the 4 sections rather than 3. Why not 3? That'll be your question.
why not three? Because you said the first two was the conversation with the watchman, and then you said the second one was, hold on, I don't have the second one written down.
You know what I'm saying? You said
I heard
yeah.
that because I'd be in mid thought, like, okay, this is what I'm gonna write next, but then you start asking me questions, I lose that thought. I'd be like finishing up with one, already having a mid thought of two, but you start saying stuff and it's gone. Nothing to do with you. It's completely me.
Well, Thomas, what should you do then if you need more time?
Ask.
Exactly.
I
Why
got you.
didn't
That's
you?
why I said it's completely me, brother.
Yep. So, future reference, if you need to finish writing it down before you can answer, then let me know.
Yep.
All right. Charles, go ahead and re-explain it if you can.
So
Since you said,
my original one was 3. I got it wrong originally because originally I put 11 and 12 as one, and I mixed 13 to 15. I put Arabia with all of those. I made that my second. 16 to 17 was my third one. But when Matt told me I was wrong, I was rereading. 11 and 12 is still one section, but verse 13, Arabia is just by itself. That's the second section. The inhabitants of the land of Tema, that what does that have to do with Arabia? That's a whole
mm-hmm.
separate section in itself. But the inhabitants of Tema, what's going on with them, is included with 15. So we have their inhabitants, but then we have where they fled and, this, that, and the third. So 14 and 15 would, how did I lose count? 11, 12 is 1, 13 is 2, 14 and 15 is 3. How did I lose count? So 14 and 15 is the third section. 16 and 17 is the fourth section. So my mistake was putting 13 and 15 together when they were separate. 13 separate from 14 and 15.
Exactly. And the reason that we can know that, Thomas, is because not because it says the burden of Arabia. That doesn't make the difference. It's because of the next sentence or the next part. In the forest of Arabia shall ye lodge. So we're talking about where they're going to be able to live, the ones that are traveling. But then in 14 and 15, we're talking about the inhabitants in the land of Tema. So we got difference of location, difference of process. Even if 14 and 15 were connected, let's say that 14 and 15 were the people that were fleeing, we got a completely separate thing. Because 14 and 15, we're talking about the struggles while they flee. But 13 is just pointing out where they're fleeing to, if it was connected. But the problem is it's not, because it says, "Oh, ye traveling companies of Dedani." So we're not talking about the inhabitants of Tema. We're talking about the traveling of the companies of Dedani. And that they're going to be able to stay in Arabia. Does that make sense, Thomas?
Right. So you said 14, 15, Timur struggle why they flee. and 16. 17's on his own, and we have 16 as well.
Exactly.
Could you say 14 one more time? I'm taking notes. I'm sorry, 17.
Oh, 16 and 17 are combined
Yeah,
because
could you
it's
say
just
that one
giving
more time?
us the situation of when and what's going to be happening. This is the timeline and impact. I would say 16 and 17 are the summarize of everything. Summarizing of everything. Because in
Okay.
16 we got the timeline of when it might happen. In 17 we got the impact.
Got it.
All right. Now, Charles, go ahead with your explanation.
All right. I'll bring it up later. But a verse starting with 11.
No, you won't.
No, I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up. Verse 11. 11 and 12. So we're talking about the burden of Duma. Let me reread. He calleth to me out of Seir. Watchman, what of the night? This is the conversation. Watchman, were you laughing when I was reading this?
I was laughing at the response.
Okay.
I
Watchmen.
started busting up at the response.
Okay. I thought it was the way I was reading. I was trying to stay focused.
No. It was think about it. Okay, think from the perspective of the Watchman when you say what he says. Because
Watchmen.
if you don't read it
Okay.
properly, I'm gonna reread it because it had me dying. I was laughing.
Oh, so earlier I didn't read it properly.
No, you did not.
Okay.
But it wasn't
Watchmen.
because of how you read it wrong that I laughed. It was because of what he said.
Watchmen. What of the night? Watchmen? What of the night? The watchman said, the morning cometh. Oh, I think he's okay. The morning cometh, and also the night. If ye will inquire ye. Return, come. And other. So is he saying it in a sense of like? So they're asking him, what about the night? But he's responding like, what? What? The morning's already here. The morning's here.
No,
Like not in the
that's
sense
not
of
what he
like
said.
a.
That's not what he said. Okay, I'm gonna reread it because that is not what he's
Go ahead.
saying.
Go ahead.
The burden of Duma, he calleth me out of Seir. Watchman, what of the night? Watchman, what of the night? The watchman said, the morning come, and also the night. If you will inquire, inquire ye. Return, come. So
Oh, is this like an Ed and Eddie response? Like,
yes,
oh,
yes.
I couldn't get that out of that though. How did you get that out of that?
Like, because here's how you should know. He didn't bring up the night and what happened. He said the morning cometh and also the night.
So because of the response,
yeah, Charles, what happened at your job yesterday? Well, we was on the job and I was clocked in.
I get it now.
You didn't give no answer whatsoever at all. No answer
I get it.
all.
I get it.
And then after giving no answer, he says, and remember, to inquire is to ask. Hey, if there's something you want to know, go ahead and ask. Come on down here. You could come on, it's fine.
Why did he say that the perimeter was secured? Why did he say that? I get it now.
Why didn't he say nothing happened?
Got it. That one you had to give an example for. That threw me for a loop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it.
That's like when I ask you a question and you give me an answer that has nothing to do with the question.
Laughing. That's why I'm laughing.
Oh my goodness, bro.
I know it bugs you.
I want to tell y'all this right now. I'm laughing because you guys do this. But do you know how pissed I would be if I'm asking the watchman who's supposed to be guarding, I'm asking him how everything went over the night. And he tells
Well, you
me,
know.
well, the morning came and it was nighttime. I mean, if there's anything you want to ask, you can go and ask. But yeah, come on. I mean, you can ask if you want to. Like, just say nothing. I don't mean
This sounds
nothing
like
isn't
a
not saying anything. Say the word, nothing happened.
this sounds like a conversation between me and you.
Yes, it does. And Charles, not
This
a
is
one-time thing either. This has happened many times with you. It's frustrating. I asked for a real answer. And you know what? And it bugs me too because, Thomas, you do the same thing in a different way. I will ask you a question expecting a realistic answer, and you'll give me something off a technicality. I wasn't asking you about technicalities. I'll sit here and ask Thomas, like, hey, Thomas, I heard it was pretty clear skies out yesterday. Was everything good? And he'll be sitting there saying, well, there was one single cloud out there. I wasn't asking about the single cloud. I was asking generally. Like,
Sounds accurate.
yes. I was reading up on COVID and I heard there was problems with the vaccine. And do you know anything about that? Well, yeah, I mean, there's been no, the media hasn't said anything. I didn't ask about the media.
that does sound like a tumultuous burden for Duma. I'll say that.
Yes, it does. And I feel their pain. And
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what? Knowing how comical God is with his irony, I guarantee you I'd be shocked if when I have children, I don't have the same problem with my kids. I guarantee it. I'll be shocked if I don't have the same problem with my kids. I'm gonna
Well,
ask
you know,
my kid what happened at school today, and my kid, and obviously I'm asking about the classes and everything, how it's going, and he's gonna tell me how Jenny was braiding her hair in class. What does that have to do with what I was asking? Well, you asked what happened in school. I meant related to school, like your classes, and never mind. Oh, that's great. That's so funny because it's so irritating. All right, keep going, Charles.
13 is just starting off with the burden of Arabia. In the forest in Arabia shall ye lodge, O ye traveling companies of dead tongue twister. Here we go. Dedanim. There we go.
Yeah.
Dedanim. So we're talking about Dedanim, the traveling companies, the people that are traveling, the groups of the Dedanims that are traveling. They're going to be in the forest of Arabia. That's where they're going to be staying.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't sound as bad as the Watchmen. That burden sounds worse.
Screw the Watchmen.
And then next, after 13, 14, the inhabitants of the land of. I hate this word. I don't hate the word. Timu ruined it. Every time I see this, it's Tema, but I'm thinking Timu. Y'all might be thinking the same thing too. The inhabitants of the land of Tema brought water to him that was thirsty.
Well, not even just that. According to them, their name is Temu.
Oh yeah, they did the
What?
Super Bowl commercial. This is how you say it, the pronunciation.
I was so
Yeah,
irritated by that. I was like, that's not how you say it. I don't care if it's your language. I'm not accepting that. Oh man.
So when it's talking about it's just so what 14 and 15, 14 inhabitants of the land of Tema. So the people that live in the land of Tema, they're bringing water to a person that's thirsty, him that's thirsty. They prevent it, so they're giving substance, water and bread.
Charles, come on, bro.
You said
Think
what?
before you answer. Does that sound literal to you? Or is that saying a point?
Saying a point of like substance.
Yeah. So are you explaining it by saying they're bringing water to the one that's thirsty?
They're just bringing substance to those that need it. In another sense.
There we go.
But as soon as you said my name, I said substance, and then you said my name. So.
Oh, well, that was bad time, but okay.
I was trying to get to the point.
My fault. But when you brought up bringing water, you've done that so much where you just reread it. I'm like thinking, okay, come on, bro.
Yeah, just trying to get to the point. Then it's my bad. I'm trying to get to the point. So then
My
just
fault.
yeah, bringing substance to those that need it. And we have the reason. Yeah, we have the reason for it's just because they fled from when it says they fled from swords, from the drawn sword, and from the bent bow, and from the grievousness of war. You fled from war. You fled from the all the negative and all the bad stuff of war.
Exactly.
Now, the one I want, this is what I wanted to bring up earlier while you were talking, verse 16 and 17. For thus have the Lord said unto me, within a year, according to the years of an hireling, and all the glory of Kedar shall fall, and the residue of the number of archers, the mighty men of the children of Kedar, shall be diminished. For the Lord God of Israel has spoken it. When he talks about Kedar, isn't when I the end 16 to 17, isn't that just a separate God is talking about within a year, all of Kedar is gonna fall?
Yeah.
Rather than it being I don't earlier you were talking about like a time point of like I forgot how you pronounce. I should have wrote it down. It was something you said earlier, and I had raised my hand for it, but I was like,
A
nah,
time
let
point
me
for when certain things are gonna happen.
right. But I thought that certain things were this particularly for Kadar, not for all of that other stuff, just Kadar.
Well, no, the thing is well, we read earlier about the fall of Babylon. That doesn't mean that this has to relate to that. We're talking about right now. We're currently reading in the Burden of Arabia, but even in the Burden of Arabia, so we're talking about a different area, right?
Hmm. Multiple areas. You got
We've gone through
Arabia,
multiple
Dunham,
areas in this
yeah,
chapter.
yeah.
So when it says that year, does it mean that everything is failing in this whole section? No, it said which where, right?
Kadar,
All
right?
the glory of where Kadar shall fail.
Yeah,
Well,
right,
is it would be different if it said if Kadar meant Babylon, right? It would be
right.
different if Kadar meant Babylon. But where is Kadar?
Honestly, I don't know. I had to look that up because
I'll
when I
go ahead and
go
look it up real quick.
on the look it up on Google on the Strongs, so the
Yeah,
Strongs.
Google, Strong's, either way.
Yeah, let's do Google. Second
Kadar
son
is
of
the Arabian
Ishmael.
Peninsula, northwest Saudi Arabia and Syrian desert area. That's not Babylon. That's part of Arabia. And it's not even all of Arabia. It's just a portion.
Just a portion, yeah.
Now, this goes into the point that I said from the beginning of why you cannot bring up the Media part as saying it's talking about the fall of Babylon. This is proving that point. Do you understand why?
Um, this proving the point. No, I don't understand. I thought earlier it's because we didn't have enough context
No, I'm saying
for
of
me
why
to.
it was bad for that. It's not just because of the lack of context, it's the impact as well because of the lack of context. This is Arabia. You thought that it might be talking about Babylon, and we're talking about a whole different area. Now, the
But I
Medi
wasn't
Persian Empire was ones that take over Babylon, right? But
right.
when we're reading about the fall of Babylon, if we look at that part of Media without considering that fall of Babylon, Arabia is part of the Medi Persian Empire. They took over that area too. Saudi Arabia, the whole nine. So if it hadn't brought up the Babylon Empire falling, it could have been talking about the Arabian areas falling. That's why that's so important. That's why I made sure to let you know don't do it because unless we have the confirmation, it's not necessarily talking about Babylon. It could be. We know that that's going to fall, but that's not the only area that falls to the Persian Median Empire. You see what I'm saying, Charles?
So you're bringing when you're bringing it up. When I made the mistake earlier, had it not bring up Babylon, we could have been talking about them coming after like the Arabian or coming after this and coming to.
Exactly.
Got it. Now I got it. Now I got it. Now I got it.
Because this is the first
Because I
time we've
made the
heard them
mistake.
bring it up.
I made the mistake because of the mistake I made earlier. Yeah. I got it now.
Mm-hmm. Thomas, do you understand that too? You get how we got that?
Yeah.
All right, re-explain it for me
You're explaining how
and speak better into the mic.
You're explaining how Babylon is the only one to fall to the Persian Empire, Arabia, as well.
Which means what? How does that correlate to his mistake?
That had to be explained to not get that too mixed up when Charles was doing his earlier section. Is what I got from what you're saying.
Not the way you worded it. You could be right, could be wrong. Try rewording it.
Just go ahead, bro. That's what I got from what you were saying.
All right. When Charles made his mistake earlier, when he brought up Media as being when they take down Babylon, he assumed without evidence that we're talking about the fall of Babylon. Later on in your section, we saw it bring up the fall of Babylon. But if that part was not there, if the fall of Babylon was not in your section, then that assumption would have created a problem. Because here in the third section, we have them, Kedar, which is in Arabia, which is part of the area where Median Persian Empire ruled. We have them falling a year from now, or failing a year from now in our reading timeline. So, because of that assumption, if we didn't have the Babylon part, Charles would have created a contradiction. He brought up something and created a conflict that did not exist because we had the information for Kedar right afterwards. Does that make sense now?
Yes.
Okay. And that's why we can't assume something is talking about something else unless we have something to back it up, truly backing it up. If we do, oh yeah, it's not an assumption then. It's a proven fact at that point. It's kind of like as a one good example before we pray it out and everything. It's like that video that you sent me, Thomas.
Yep.
When it brought up about saying was a God, and it was like, well, that's a translation issue. You don't even need that. If he would have gone to Isaiah 9:6, and literally the Messiah is going to be called a God. You can only have one God. And they could have gone to 14 and he didn't read the full thing, right? And because he didn't read the full thing, he created a possible problem that the other guy didn't catch. Just because he didn't catch it doesn't mean it's not a problem. He said the word became flesh. Okay. Why do you assume that's Jesus? He didn't read the full thing and created a possible problem. So having the context as it's written matters. Not adding or taking away. All right. Now then, Charles, you got one more verse to explain.
Let me go back. Come on, phone. So let me go to 17. And the residue of the number of archers, the mighty men of the children of Kedar, shall be diminished, for the Lord God of Israel has spoken it. So God's just God's words talking about when you talk about the residue, the remainder, what's left of the archers of the mighty men of these children of Kedar. when you're talking about diminishing, they're just gonna be gone. They're gone. You can cease to exist. You can say whatever you want, but they're gonna be gone. Whatever's left is gonna be gone, which is funny.
No. Mm-mm. Not gone. Not cease to exist.
Let me go to diminish. I thought diminish was gone.
Nope.
Wiped.
Close, but not quite. Diminished means almost gone. Barely any left.
So it's like if I gave you 14 Skittles, and then I'm like, you know what? Nah, it's not enough. And then I come back and I just give you one.
Yeah, pretty much. One or two. Yep.
There was 14 left, and I said, nah, it's not enough. And then you got one left. So you go from the residue, which is like a remainder, which we know is like just whatever's left, which would be a small number compared to the original. Now you're left it to just like almost like single digits, really. Like I'm not trying to put I'm just trying to put the example out, like a
Yeah, the
remainder
concept
of a
being so small,
remainder.
like single digit.
Yeah, the remainder of a remainder.
Yeah,
Fractions. So we're
exactly.
talking about fractions of whatever's left. Okay, let me write that down.
All right, Thomas, you got that too? Thomas.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I got
You
it
all
down on my
right,
notes.
bro?
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure, bro? You seem out of it today, bro. Like a
No, I'm
lot.
good. No, I've just been writing. It's kind of hard for me to
All right.
multitask.
Gotta communicate, bro. Gotta communicate.
I thought I was unmuted, then I clicked it. I was like, oh no, because I was unmuted for a solid 10 minutes.
Mm. All right.
But yeah,
Guys,
so
just a heads up, because I've made that mistake too. We gotta always make sure that if we're talking, we need to make sure we're unmuted for a second before we do.
okay,
You got it.
Because even when you jump on, let's say you do jump on and say yeah, but there have been times where we didn't hear it because you said yeah and it clicked off, and it didn't register with it. So even in that situation, because if you force yourself to give that second, you'll definitely have to check and make sure it's on. All right. Now then, I'll switch it to. Now, does anybody have any comments or questions about the Bible study before we pray it out from the Bible study portion? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right. Then, Thomas, go ahead and pray us out when you're ready.
all right. If you guys can bow your heads with me, Heavenly Father, we thank you for another Bible study. And as to close out at 21, we touched a couple of bases there in regarding to the fall of Babylon and how Arabia will be punished. Good closing to 21. Excited to see what 22 holds, what's in store for 22. I pray that the remainder of our days, our night goes well, and we wake up to see the light of tomorrow. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 All right. Now, tonight's Bible listening, get down to it, is First Kings. Why does it take so long to scroll? There we go. First Kings, chapter 14 through to Second Kings, chapter 1. First Kings, chapter 14 to Second Kings, chapter 1. Let me know when y'all got it.
I got it.
I got it.
All right. Last night's listening was 1 Kings chapter 5 to 13. We'll have Thomas go first, then Charles, and then I'll finish this out.
Okay, let me go to my Bible real quick.
Do it, man.
Get tired of y'all saying to me, "Oh, I don't know why you didn't do the other two verses before and after." Like, bro, let me just go here so I can get an overall instead of writing it down. All right, so I'll be doing 1 Kings chapter 11 verses 1 through 4. I got a lot of phlegm in the throat, so I'm not going to read it.
I don't know why you didn't do it before.
So pretty much, long story short, King Solomon, this is where it went wrong. He loved many strange women, and the wives turned his heart away, start praising their gods and stuff like that. The wisest man does this. It always blows my mind, but it goes to show just how, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, promiscuous the women can be, how deceiving.
No. I do got to correct you on that. It's not the women's fault. They're always like that. They always have been like that. Think about it this way, Eve. Think about it this way, Sarah. There has always been some ability among women to be deceived and to deceive. The problem and the fault falls on Solomon. What it shows is not that his wisdom failed him. It's not like the women deceived him. What failed him is his willpower and desire. He stopped putting God first when it came to lust. And all the time growing up and all that, he didn't have to deal with that. But at first opportunity, look what happens. But if you really think about it, look at who his parents are. Who's Solomon's mom?
Bathsheba.
Yeah. And where was she relevant in the Bible?
Getting down with David.
Exactly. Married and doing so. And her husband is a war general. You are married and your husband is a hero. And you getting down with the king. See, a lot of times when we look at that, we like to put the blame only on the woman or only on the man. It's on both. But in Solomon's position, and you look around from everything he's going through, literally prayed and asked for the wisdom and received it. So when we think about it, whose fault is it? Is it really the women's fault that he failed? Nah. As it pointed out, they were strange women from different religions and cultures. So if I know, and this goes into our dating lives, that's why I tell you guys all the time. It's one thing if you want to date somebody who's not a Christian. It's a whole nother thing if you want to marry him. And realistically, if she's not trying to get right with God, you shouldn't even be dating her. For that exact reason. Because it's not his wisdom that failed him. He knew better. It was his willpower and desire that failed him.
Yep. And I added this too. That we are to guard our hearts daily, because even the strongest spiritual person can drift slowly if they ignore the warning signs of God, from God.
I wouldn't even say slowly.
Not,
He went from the wisest ever, right? He went from literally the wisest king to ever live to straight retarded. Think about that for a moment. That's not a slow drop. That ain't a slow drip. That's a falling off a cliff. It would be different if he was like Moses. He's really wise, but he got reaction issues with his anger. Now, if he went and got into the lust problem, oh yeah, bro, like it's a small drop. It's a small drip. You didn't fall that far off of where you already were. We saw the process. With Solomon, we went from perfection and wisdom more than ever before, after, to getting taken in with women, to failing your ways in God because of women. And mind you, we're not even talking about one. How many wives did he have? Over 700?
Mm-hmm.
What? I'm sorry. I need a wife for two things. And I have said this many a times. You know what those two, let's see if you remember. You know what those two things are, Thomas?
Sexual pleasure
Mm-hmm.
and kids.
Yes, that's it. If God could bring me a wife that outside, like she don't want to hang out or whatever, but she can be faithful to me, and whatever she wants to do, as long as it's not a sinful thing, we can live however she want to live. She want to live in a high class. She don't want to be hanging around at homeless shelters. Cool. When I go help out homeless people, you don't gotta be there. When all this stuff, cool. I need you for two things. So I'm not in sin when I lust, because if I'm lusting after my wife, that's not a sin. I'm not in sin with sexual deviance outside of marriage and all that. And so I could build a family. But let's be real. How much does the family part truly matter? It would be nice, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't need kids to be faithful to God. I want to be a father, but that's not a necessity. I need a wife for the sexual purity. That's a necessity. But kids, that would be a pleasant bonus. So, and mind you, it's not even like, that's the thing. That's all I need her for. So as long as she don't get in my way or whatever, look, you wanna do what you want to do, cool. Just make sure you following God. If you doing what God calls us to do, let's say you into those family dramas that I'm not into, and you want me to watch it with you, I got you. You want to go get a real nice car and we got the money to do it, I got you. You want to get a Birkin bed, even though I think Birkin bags are some of the dumbest thing you can spend your money on, I got you. But when it comes time for company, spending time together, enjoying one another, and pleasure in a righteous way, you got to be down for that. So I wouldn't even say the kids. I would say pleasure and companionship in a righteous way. Because don't get me wrong, Thomas, let's be real. There are times, like, even if you, like, you may not want, like, and maybe not you, but maybe I do. Like, Charles, I think you would. Have you ever wanted to just be sitting on a nice couch and soft, whatever, and you just chilling buck naked with your wife watching TV? Nobody around? You don't even have to be having pleasure. You could just be chilling,
Yeah. I don't
right?
know how long that's gonna last. Nah.
Well, I mean, it's probably not gonna last that long, but like, I'll tell you this way. You know what my favorite part of a relationship is? I don't know if I've ever told you this. It's my number one favorite part of a relationship. You know what it is, Thomas?
What's that?
Let me give Charles. Charles, do you know what my favorite part of it? I know I've told you this, but it's been a long time since we talked about this. You know what my favorite part of a relationship is, Charles?
I don't remember.
My favorite part of a relationship is the wake up in the morning after sleeping together. And I'm not talking sexually. I'm talking to wake up in the morning with my girl in my arms and we just waking up relaxed together. That's my favorite part. And it happened on days when we got intimate, and it happened on days when we were not intimate. But we woke up together. That's my favorite part. So, as long as I got the companionship and I got the sexual pleasure, I don't care if we have kids. It's a preference, not a requirement. The only requirement is you got to be wanting to follow God according to his word in context. Doesn't mean you won't slip up, but you got to be trying. Effort's got to be there. That's where Solomon screwed up. All right. I went on a tangent on that. My bad, y'all. We took way longer than it was supposed to be. This is going to be a quicker one, too. All right. Charles, did you have anything you wanted to add on his?
Other than you took mine, but I got another one.
He took yours.
It's all good. I got another one.
All right. Go ahead, Charles, when you're ready.
My next one, that was one I wanted to bring up because it's just funny. This is another one I brought it up before, but it always it's something cool to listen to, something cool to hear. This is when Queen Sheba goes to test Solomon's fame, and because she heard about the fame of him, of the wisdom and all of that, but she said,
Yep.
let me say what she said in verse 6 and 7. And she said to the king, it was true. It was a true report that I heard in my own land of thy acts and of thy wisdom. Howbeit I believed not the words until I came and my eyes had seen it. And behold, the half was not told me. Thy wisdom and prosperity exceeded the fame which I have heard. So her response to Solomon about how half of what she heard, half of it doesn't even exceed you exceed half of that. You know what that reminds me of, Matt?
Uh,
When you preach God to me. Because when you preach God to me, it exceeded way more than what I assumed, way more than what I believed, it completely changed everything for me. Because so many people taught me in all the wrong ways and in all the wrong things. It was a great. It's an expansion. Think about it, Matt. When I started with you, what did I tell you about Moses? I knew how to spell his name in the Ten
yeah.
Commandments. And then you said, "What do you do? What do you know about Jesus?" I can spell his name. I didn't know nothing. But the more we did from Genesis all the way Genesis to I want to say Second Kings, it it was such an expansion, not just of the knowledge that I was able to gain because you were able to teach me the fact that nothing new under the sun. Y'all going through the same things we're going through. You struggling with the same things we're struggling with.
Yep.
You guys slip up just like we slip up. Now, you shouldn't slip up because y'all had God right there. You had direct communication.
They had it
Different for
so
us.
much better
You
than
had
we
it. You
do,
had
bro.
they had it way better than us. But it's so cool to learn and to when I was told about God, I was never told that people in the Bible had our struggles. People in the Bible made mistakes. People in the Bible did this, did that. No one ever sat me down to show me that. You showed me that. So I feel the same way this woman feels with King Solomon. More than exceeded what I thought. More than
Yep.
exceeded what I heard. More than exceeded what I was told. I don't know how do you guys all feel about that?
Okay.
Thomas, I look at it as this way. It's so crazy to me that people don't have that wisdom. That's what it sticks out to me. Think about this for a moment. Look at all we have in the Bible. When the Bible says it has everything that pertains to life and godliness, is that a lie, Charles? After all we've
No.
read?
After all we've read, no.
Is that even close or touching the line of an exaggeration,
No.
Thomas?
Oh, well, sorry.
No.
So you mean to tell me we have all this wisdom, we have all this knowledge that has everything that pertains to how to live life and godliness, and we don't have that wisdom? Are you serious? We don't have that wisdom that has been available. And think about this. The Bible, the canon, the Bible that we have was first originated in 1611 when it was put together. The books existed from the beginning. Whether we're talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls, we're talking about others, it's all existed prior. But the completed Bible, organized together, translated in English, all good, King James Bible, has been available since 1611. Not including all the other earlier. I'm just talking about the worst case scenario. You don't know these other languages. You can get the general gist. And we don't have that wisdom. We don't have that wisdom on our finances. We don't have that wisdom in our how we take care of our health. We don't have that wisdom when it comes to women, when it comes on the women's side towards men. We don't have that wisdom when it comes to family, to raising our kids. We don't have that wisdom when it comes to acting as if God doesn't have feelings. We don't have that wisdom when it comes to how to deal with our jobs. We don't have wisdom how the Bible shows that if you have the ability to move up, you should. Like, if we looked at all the men and women of God that actually believe in the Bible, I'm not even going to include the millions and billions that claim they believe and don't. I'm talking about historically up till now. If we include the small factor of the amount of people that actually faithfully believed in God, if they had followed all the wisdom of the Bible, I'll put it to you in this question. Charles, would you ever see a Christian that's hungry?
Not in the, no, I wouldn't see them hungry if they were actually following this book.
Thomas, would you ever see a Christian that has nothing to drink?
No.
Matter of fact, let's be so legitimate about this. Unless it's personal preference, would you ever see a Christian that does not have a mansion, Charles?
No.
And on the same time as that, Thomas, would you ever see a Christian who has a dream car or a dream whatever the product is that they don't have at home just because they want
Nope.
it? So even if you were going to have some desires in this material world, if people actually followed the wisdom of the Bible, you'd have it. Because think about this from this perspective. Children were to be trained up in the ways of God. Thomas, if you train up Isaiah, including now, all the way till he's 13, and when he's 13, you let him do school and get a little side gig cleaning houses or whatever to get some money, and teach him proper responsibility financially and religious wise and all that. You teach him how to build. How much money you think he gonna have in the bank when he hits his 30s? No, scratch that. His 20s. He'll have his first car his freshman year minimum. Because you got freshman year and 13. But if you have that business and he can work in it and you build it up, he can have a job. He can actually make money. And let alone, think about it this way. That's if he works on some side gig like that. That's if you don't employ him. How do you think you'd pay your kid if you're doing things the Christian way, the way the Bible teaches? You're going to give him an unfair wage just because he's your son? Nah, you're going to give him a fair wage. And if your son is getting a fair wage, and then you look at that at the age of 13, You can't have a car, you can't drive until you're 15 or 50 and a half in most states. That's 2.5 years of saving money and building up. And because you had your act together, you had all that you needed and all that was taken care of, he wouldn't have to worry about clothes and looking nice at school. I mean, y'all have seen how I dress with the stuff from Temu. That's not the only way to do it. That's just the way I do it. So when we look at it from this perspective, it's crazy. Like if people actually followed the wisdom of the Bible, they would be rich like Solomon. And I'm gonna bring that up more when I get into mine. But that's why it sticks out to me, Charles. It's not about how wise he was. It more so makes me reflect on how unwise we are. Because man, it's all there.
Yeah, you got a point.
All right. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Charles or Thomas, before I go into mine?
No, I don't have nothing to add.
No.
All right. Now then, I'll go into mine. Mine is 1 Kings chapter 10, but it's just one verse. Verse 14. Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year. Keep this in mind. This is 1 year where this amount of weight of gold came in. Was 606 talents of gold. That is 666 talents of gold, which calculates to 50,215 pounds of gold. The current price of a pound of gold. Let me go ahead. As of December 8th, gold is around $4,200 per ounce. 16 ounces in a pound, approximately $67,200. So at current price, for the amount of gold that he had, as I said, 50,215 pounds multiplied by that 67,200 in 1 year. 1 year, he had collected 3,374,448,000. That's the amount of money he collected worth of the amount of gold that he got if that was there today. 3,374,448,000. And how much did Walmart profit last year in 2024? Walmart profited approximately 15.5 billion. 15.5 billion. This man profited almost as much, especially comparing it to that with the amount he made and how much it's worth. You would be in the top of the entire world today. Not number one, but pretty dang close. I think is the richest person in the world? The richest person in the world is Elon Musk. Oh, no. They're calculating everything combined with Tesla and all that. That's a different story. Bottom line is That was in 1 year. And then you think about the wisdom he had. Well, Charles, if you had the wisdom of Solomon, how much you think people would pay you just to speak to their people, to get them to act right and get their business afloat and succeeding?
A lot. I'll be one of those paid speakers that you see promoting, sold out every day.
Exactly. Thomas, same on your side. So this
Oh
is
yeah,
the whole
crazy.
point. You see what I'm saying? So this is the whole point. That amount of money he made in a year because of giving out wisdom to these kingdoms. So when I think about it and where Christians could be, mind you, Christians, we're supposed to be a monolith. We're supposed to be one unit working together. You think we couldn't build something like that in today's day and age? I'll give you an example of how we could. Plumbers, carpenters, people in all different areas of the world, all different type of necessity jobs, businesses, owners could easily do that. And it's all connected and we're all unified. And there's no division. So yeah, as with Charles also of his verse, as also with mine, to me, it's not crazy how wise Solomon was. It's crazy because like think about the wisdom he put about like the women and like trying to pretend like one was trying to pretend it was her kid and the other one was saying it was hers, and it turns out she tried to claim it. Like, and Solomon said, "All right, we'll split the baby in half and then give one half to each." And one mom, the one that was not the actual mom, said, "Fine, yeah, that's good." Whereas the other mom was like, "No, no, no, give it to her, give it to her." That wisdom is wise. But you think about his point of view and what he said and where it came from. He said, "Give it to the one who was willing to give her up," because a real mom would rather her child be alive rather than having the child be split just to prove a point. That wisdom, crazy work. But it's in the Bible. We'd have it. So that's why those stick out to me like that. Charles' section just the same as mine. Actually, Thomas, all of ours were connected. All of ours were about the wisdom of Solomon. And when you think about it, it's kind of funny because Thomas's was about how Solomon screwed up by not using his wisdom. Charles, actually, you know what? If you think about our three sections, they're the processes of the downfall of society. Did you guys realize that? Charles was about how Solomon's wisdom grew and about how he was so wise that even the queen of I forget the area, but like she tried to test him and proved she was not ready for him. It was more than expected. Then Thomas's was about how even though he had that wisdom, his will and desire caused him to falter for the sake of the lust of women. And then mine was about how we don't even use the wisdom that Solomon had, and we have full access to it. We literally just like that was poetic. The way that came together.
I didn't think when I picked my section, I didn't think we would have something that connected.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, none of us thought about that. Like I'm gonna
Yeah,
connect to Charles today. Like, I think that's funny. But anyways, with that in mind, do you guys have anything you want to add or say before we close it out? Now be the time. All right, then I'll go ahead and close us out. Have a good night, y'all.